So let's do this for NVIDIA. Total assets 65,728. We already have that sales number here, 60,922. So every dollar of assets of NVIDIA generates about 92 cents of sales. When you compare TAT across firms, you have to make sure that they're in similar businesses. Certain industries are more capital intensive, like, hardware kind of stuff, or airplanes, airlines. On the other hand, software companies, they are not that capital intensive. So you cannot compare TAT of NVIDIA to Microsoft or Google. It's apples to oranges comparison. But you can do that Kroger versus Walmart or NVIDIA versus AMD, for example. A related ratio, sometimes it's easier to interpret. It's called capital intensity ratio, which is simply total assets divided by sales, or 1 over TAT. How many dollar of assets do I need for $1 of sales? Not TAR, TAT. So for NVIDIA, in order to generate $1 of sales requires $1.08 worth of assets. Sometimes we also look at uh, current asset turnover. This is kind of similar to, in spirit, to inventory turnover. Obviously, that's sales over current assets. For NVIDIA, current assets are 44,345. So I'm going to call this CAT. By the way, this is not a ratio that's in your book, but if you're analyzing a firm, you should always look at it. So every dollar of current assets generates about $1.37 worth of sales. You want that number normally to be high. One of the reasons that's that low, if you look at it, NVIDIA has about $26 billion worth of cash and cash equivalents and stuff. Sometimes, you can decompose CAR, which is the capital intensity ratio, as 1 over, or This is the reciprocal of receivables turnover, reciprocal of inventory turnover, and you can also calculate something called fixed asset turnover. So if a company has a high capital intensity, you can figure out where that comes from. Is it coming from because a lot of cash or a lot of fixed assets or inventory or other reasons? In fact, that's probably the only reason we even calculate capital intensity ratio when you're doing asset efficiency analysis of a firm so that you can decompose it into those little pieces. Now, let's start talking about profitability ratios. We're going to calculate three of them. Profit margin, shorts PM, return on assets, shorts ROA, and return on equity. They all have net income on their numerator, only the denominator changes. PM is uh, net income divided by sales. So for every dollar of sales, how many cents do you get to keep after everything? ROA is net income divided by total assets, and ROE is net income divided by total equity. Now, these things are kind of related. First, this is what I call, well, we'll get to that. You can always write ROE as ROA times equity multiplier, which is ROA times EM. Whichever one is available for you. You can also write profit margin as, not profit margin, I'm sorry, ROA as profit margin times total asset turnover. Or you could write ROE as this is known as the DuPont identity.